We're currently about $3.8 million homes short in this country right now, and there's not a lot of hope on the horizon, at least in the near term. This works very well for you, though, if you're a seller. So let me talk about the 7 things I would recommend as a seller that you look for in a contract made to buy your home. Hi, I'm Bob Baird with Coldwell Banker Realty Gundaker here in St. Louis, Missouri. And I'm recording this as of April 20th in 2021. And to say it's a seller market is a huge understatement. With such a low inventory, we currently have about 1% inventory in St. Louis, and historically low interest rates. They have crept up a little bit lately, but they're still extremely low. This has really brought out the buyers. And unfortunately, there are just not a lot of homes for them to buy. But if you're a seller, this is good news. You're probably going to see multiple offers and a lot of competition. But first, let me go through a little background here with you. And I'm sorry if I'm looking at my notes. But in St. Louis, like I said, we only have 1 month of inventory. Typically, that number is about 6 months in a balanced market. But with only 1 month of inventory, it's definitely a seller's market. So how did we get here? Well, it isn't just the interest rates. I know that's something people see a lot, but what's hidden is the demographics. That's another major factor. We have a whole group of individuals called millennials who are now ready to buy homes. And regrettably, they're not available. But that is definitely increasing the amount of buyers in the market. The other thing I want to tell you, and I'll read this, this comes from the Wall Street Journal. We are $3.8 million homes, or I'm sorry, 3.8 million homes short in this country. Let me read this. According to a new analysis from Freddie Mac, the U.S. housing market needs nearly 4 million single-family homes to meet the nation's demand. The 3.8 million shortfall marks a 52% increase in the housing market shortage since 2018. That's just 3 years ago. Builders have been ramping up construction but are facing many challenges such as labor and lot shortages and the rapidly rising cost of materials, notably lumber. I follow an economist. His name is Elliot Eisenberg, and here's something he wrote recently in an email I get every day. It's called Lofty Lumber. Today, the price for 1,000 board feet of lumber on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange hit yet another high at $1,300 a thousand board feet. A year ago, the same contract was $328.50, and in 9/28 of 09, it was $163.60. As he says, nothing is forever. So, here are the 7 things I recommend that you as a seller look for in a real estate contract made on your property. And I will premise all of this by telling you that I am licensed to practice in Missouri. And so if you don't live in Missouri, you need to talk to your real estate agent about all of this. I can't provide any real estate nor legal advice. I'm not an attorney. And every state has a different sales contract. So you need to discuss that, and different laws for that matter. And you need to discuss this with your agent before you take any action. But here are the 7 things I think you need to consider. First, the asking price. It used to be in the old days, we told buyers, well, let's talk about how much you might be able to offer under the asking price to get this house. Now, when we have that discussion with buyers, it's how much are you willing to pay over the asking price to get that house. So if your house is in good shape, and we say there are 3 things that affect the sale of a home, and they are condition, location, and price. And if your home is in a good location, and if your home has been priced fairly, hopefully your agent has used very recent comps, in this market probably 3 months, and you have made a decision to price your home fairly. They provide a recommendation, but you make the decision as to how much you want to sell your home for, then you're probably going to sell your home quickly. But again, it does depend on those factors. But you should expect, if all things are good, that you're going to see multiple offers close to or over asking price. The other thing I would say, and this is the second item you should look for, is that cash is king. If you do get multiple offers, The agent is probably going to arrange them in three groups. The first is those offers which are all cash. In other words, there's no financing required. They simply have the resources to pay cash for the home. The second item is those that require a conventional loan. In other words, a loan that is not a government-backed loan. And then those that are government-backed loans, VA loans, FHA loans, and the like, which typically require very little or no down payment. Cash is going to be your best offer, but it may not be the highest offer, and there may be other terms in the contract which don't make it the most attractive offer. So again, you and your agent will go through the offers and look at this, but generally speaking, all things equal, a cash offer is probably your best deal. Now, the next three things I'm going to talk about are items in the contract that are typically in a standard sales contract to protect the buyer. Now, many of these items can be removed or changed. And when that happens, the buyer, of course, takes on more risk. How much risk depends on their circumstances. But these are the things you might want to look for in an offer made on your home. And you may want to talk with your agent about whether these things are present in their offer or whether you want to have them removed. The first is the inspection clause. In St. Louis, like most states, you have the ability to conduct inspections under the standard sales contract, whether those be a building inspection, a radon inspection, a sewer inspection, a lead inspection, a mold inspection, the list goes on and on. But you have the right to do those within a certain period of time. And generally speaking, at least in St. Louis, this is the case, if you decide during that inspection period, normally 10 days, but it can be changed, to get out of the contract, you can get out of the contract and get your earnest money or your deposit back. And also, in St. Louis, at least, where we have, I don't know how many municipalities, but it's over 80 municipalities in St. Louis. We're one of the few cities in the country that are like that. Almost every one has a requirement for a municipal inspection, which is necessary to be done by their inspectors prior to the new resident being able to get an occupancy permit. So what can happen in a standard sales contract for a buyer to be competitive is that they can remove components of this inspection clause. They can take away the inspections altogether. They can take away the ability to get out. After they conduct inspections, they can most commonly take out the opportunity to ask the seller to make any repairs. So take a good look at the inspection clause they've proposed. You may not want to make repairs, and in this market you may not need to, but you need to make sure that if that's the case, the contract states that. The next thing I want to talk about is the appraisal clause. Now, as you know, typically in the old days when you bought a home, and especially if you were using a loan, you were required to get an appraisal and make sure that the house appraised for what you were offering to buy it for. The bank doesn't want to loan money on a house that's being where someone is overpaying. Well, if someone is buying a house with cash, they can ask to have an appraisal done, or they can waive the appraisal. They simply don't ask for it. If someone is getting a conventional loan, depending on how much they're putting down, the bank may or may not require that they get an appraisal. And if it's a government-backed loan, like a VA or an FHA loan, they absolutely have to have an appraisal. So, but there are things that an agent who understands how to win deals in this competitive market may do for their buyer, and that is they may ask them to either waive the appraisal because they either have a cash offer or conventional offer, or they'll pay the difference should it not appraise for the full value. Now, I won't get into a lot of this here. You should talk to your agent about that. But again, the appraisal clause is somewhere you may want to look to in the offer to see if it is competitive as others. The next is loan contingency clause. For those getting a loan, there is a clause in our contract in St. Louis that says if they can't get the loan, then they can get out of the deal. Now, they will have pre-approved or pre-qualified for the loan, but that does not mean the underwriting has happened. That happens over the 3 weeks after they've had their offer accepted, and it is possible for even someone who's been pre-approved or pre-qualified to lose the loan. Now, how can that happen? Well, it can typically happen if they lose their job, or it can happen if they go out and make some major purchase, and then they change their ratios and they no longer qualify. So they may remove the loan contingency clause. Now, when they do this, they need to be able to make sure they have enough money or access to money to buy the home without a loan. So it's a high risk deal for some, but it is something that may not be in the contract when you look at it, and it's something to consider. The next one is easy, closing date flexibility. You want to make sure that you have plenty of time to get your affairs in order and get moved. You may even want to ask the buyer to hold up after closing on moving in. There's a rider, at least in Missouri, that you can use to do that, and and ask them to allow you to stay in the home after you've closed to be able to get everything moved out. Sometimes they will agree to that. So removal of other contingencies, primarily the one that says they have to sell their home to be able to close on yours, is a big one. And there's two variations of this. There's one that says, you know, if I sell my home, then, you know, then I can close on your home. Or if I sell and close on my home, then I can close on your home. Don't worry about that. The reality is in this market that very few buyers who want to be competitive are going to come to you with a contingency to sell their home. They know they can sell their home fast, so if they can get the offer accepted on your home, they will then put their home on the market and get it sold quickly, and there won't be much of a gap. They may pay both mortgages for a short period of time, or they may get a bridge loan from the bank. There's a lot of things they can do, but they're willing to take that risk, and they might remove that clause from the contract. So again, all that said, the specifics here depend a lot on your state and the laws you have regarding real estate and the standard sales contract. Now, if you don't have an agent in your state and you need one, please reach out to us. I have the ability, my wife and I have the ability to reach out to other great agents in the Coldwell Banker network to find one and screen them to make sure that they're perfect for you given your conditions. These are referrals, and we do them all the time. We did one recently for a friend in Virginia, and I also did one for another friend whose family owns the home that his mother had lived in until she passed in Cape Cod. He lives in Georgia. He'll never go to Cape Cod, but I found a great agent in Cape Cod who handles properties that are in a trust and are in that situation, need someone to help with the estate sale, repairs, etc. She can do all that. So if you need a great agent, let me know. I can't represent you if you don't live in Missouri or St. Louis, but I can help you find a great agent who can. So my wife and I would love to help you in any way we can. Always feel free to reach out to us. We have a great website with a ton of resources, a lot of resources specifically for veterans, because I am a retired Navy officer and I specialize in helping veterans find homes. But we have a lot of other resources as well. And if we can be of any assistance, just let us know. If you get a chance, please subscribe to this video. That helps us make videos like this possible. And we wish you the best of luck. Bye-bye.